Hola, amigos, and welcome to Spain Impossible. I am your host, Jim, and today I am on the road in South Carolina and I am celebrating. I am down 80 pounds. Now, I say celebrating, but it's not like I'm throwing a party or anything like that. I'm on the road, so I guess I'm going to have to hold on to the celebration until next time I'm home. But I will be celebrating with a red velvet cupcake, which is my absolute favorite cake. It has always been. Sorry for the lighting in this video. I'm dealing with what I can. It's a little cloudy and stormy outside, so I really can't film outside or have the doors open or anything like that. So I've just got my LED light from above. So hopefully the little shadows that keep going on my face because I move my head with my baseball cap on aren't making too much of a problem here. So, what I wanted to talk about today is persistence and being flexible and improvising. So, this week, I would have normally been home this weekend to resupply my truck with all of my goodies that I use on the blueprint. But unfortunately, I am running extremely low on the foods that I like to keep tight. So until I get home and can resupply from my stocks at home, uh, because I've already bought a lot of these things in bulk from Costco. So I don't want to go to Costco and buy a duplicate set of things that I already have at home, um, because I'm not sure, if I'm going to change things up the next time I go to Costco and pick up some different things. So that brings us to flexibility and improvising. So I talked a little bit in the step 10 video about stepping outside and, using some restaurant foods and some other things, but making good decisions with them. And I didn't go to restaurants as per se at this point in time. Now, if I'm out on the road more than another couple of days, I'm going to have to start hitting some of those restaurants and using those well-worn grooves of King Prince Popper and fiber, healthy fat, and protein in order to make good choices from those restaurants. And so I found some stuff that I can do in the truck, including cans of black beans, which obviously have a great source of fiber, and some pre-made meals which are ultra processed, and I don't really want to use them. But in a situation like this, I have to be a little bit flexible in the blueprint, and I'm doing so well that I feel comfortable. Maybe this week I won't see as pronounced of a weight loss. Last week was 4.4 pounds. I wasn't even trying. So, it's just it keeps coming off, and it's the basics. It's King Prince Popper, and it's fiber, 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 a little bit of healthy fat, and protein, which most of the vegetables and stuff that I'm eating, fruits and vegetables, have protein in them. So, there's this misnomer that there's this, plants don't have complete proteins. Bullshit. Plants have complete proteins. It's just that certain plants contain a little bit less of particular amino acids here and there. So you have to eat in combination. So in order to get all of the essential amino acids, you need to be eating a rainbow. You need to have multiple. You can't just eat iceberg lettuce, is what I'm trying to say. You can't just eat spinach. You have to bring in other things like avocados and blueberries and kale and potatoes and rice and things like that in order to make sure that those amino acids are in the right balance. And our body takes care of that. That's the wonderful thing about our body. If we're getting a little low on an amino acid, the body uses all of these proteins on a daily basis, and anything it doesn't use, it stores. And then the next day, my understanding, anyways, is that it shoots them back out into the body to be broken down and reassembled. So If you're getting low, the body does amazing things. The body does B12 in not necessarily a similar fashion, but it's very, very, very efficient with how it uses B12 and recycles it. So, it's very hard to get a B12 deficiency even when you're eating plant-based, but I still take a B12 just to be on the safe side. But, a lot of vegans and vegetarians that don't know about the B12 thing, they will become B12 deficient, but it sometimes takes years simply because the body is so good at recycling things. And the body is so good at recycling proteins and amino acids that as long as you're feeding yourself a rainbow of fruits and vegetables and tubers and legumes, you're going to get this blend of all these amino acids that are considered essential because the body can't make them. So that's what I'm focusing on, is I'm trying to make sure I'm getting, a little bit of the reds, a little bit of the oranges, a little bit of the greens, a little bit of the, the darker colors, the blacks and the blues and the purples, and that's what they mean by eating the rainbow, because all of these different fruits and vegetables and legumes and things like that have different quantities of these essential amino acids. So there's not I can only eat artichokes and those have everything I need. Whereas when you're eating meats, yes, it's true that meats contain all of the essential amino acids, but they contain so many of the bad things like saturated fat. We have a tendency to put more salt on meats, which we know salt is bad for blood pressure. So things like that go hand in hand with those types of things. So I'm being flexible. I'm trying to maximize what I can by purchasing small quantities of things at grocery stores to get me through until I get home. So that brings us to our second part, which is about persistence. And persistence, being an adult with a mild to moderate case of ADHD, that, obviously when I was growing up, nobody knew that was really much of a thing. Persistence has always been a problem in my life. Always. I can get going on something and it falls off. The interest wanes, things happen, blah, 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 blah. Persistence has always been a problem for me. And we know that persistence is the key to anything in life, really. I mean, it's being persistent in the pursuit of someone that you want to be your wife, being persistent in the pursuit of, a career, being persistent in, being wanting to be a good parent. There's all kinds of ways that persistence plays into our lives. And mastering persistence is very, very difficult. As a matter of fact, persistence is the main focus of a book I'm sure most people have heard of called Think and Grow Rich. It's the secret key that they talk about all throughout the book. It's persistence. So, how do we do persistence with the blueprint? Aside from having an iron will, which is not necessarily my forte, but in getting this weight off and setting myself this goal and giving myself a year to do it, I feel like I have probably the largest will drive I've had in my life, as far as getting weight off goes, or losing weight, or pursuing anything with any kind of persistence. So that helps. The other thing that helps is the daily diet tracking. And some days here on the road, it can be very difficult to take the time to jot things down. And I've got to do a lot of things from memory, a little bit later in the day, or maybe even the next morning, depending on, if I drove for 8-10 hours and I'm wiped out and the only thing I can do is pull my mattress out and bunk down, then the next morning I get up and weigh myself and I'm like, oh yeah, what did I eat? What time was that? Did I go for a walk? Thank goodness the pedometer's on my phone and I can just look back on that. So being persistent is helped along by the daily tracking sheets. And there may be some things, if you go over to SpainImpossible.com and download it and print it out, there may be some things on there that you're like, I don't need. Just put a line through it. If you're not tracking that, just put a line through it, or use the space for something else. Now, granted, I set these daily tracking up for my specific way of doing things. And that's what's great about the blueprint is the flexibility involved in it. And so you may use it in a slightly different fashion, but the really important things are tracking your weight on a daily basis and also tracking your food. Because when you write it down, when you know you have to write it down before you put it in your mouth, or you're going to have to write it down after you put it in your mouth, something clicks inside of you where you go, do I really want this bad enough to write it down? And so that helps with persistence in keeping your food tight. Now, the persistence in exercise when I'm at home, my dog keeps me on that because, man, she wants to go for a walk 2, 3, 4 times a day, every day of the week. But I don't go, I'm once a day in it, 30 minutes, but she wants to go for a walk. I mean, I can't even go near the front hall closet where her harness is kept, because if I open that door, she thinks we're going for a walk. So, and she gets all excited and starts jumping around, and I love my dog to death, but I don't want to walk 3 or 4 times a day. I don't really have time for that. But I do make the effort to walk the once a day, 30 minutes with my dog when I'm at home. And I'll be honest, I find that difficult sometimes when I'm on the road to go, hey, we need to get up and go out and walk. And, I'm at truck stops, and sometimes there's a lot of traffic, sometimes there's not a lot of traffic. So those things I've really struggled with being persistent on. But that's another thing that's on the daily tracking sheet, is you have to circle that yes or that no. Did you exercise? And in the beginning, obviously, you're not going to be doing 7 days a week of exercise. So a lot of those are going to say no. And I think that's part of the problem that I'm trying to overcome, is I had gotten to the point where I was doing 7 days a week of exercise at home. Now that I'm on the road, there's still this lingering, oh, I can circle no. Oh, I can circle no. And I need to abolish that, because I'm keeping everything else tight and the way that I want to do things. The only thing I'm struggling with right now is the exercise portion of it. And that's part of why I wanted to jump on with this video and put it out, is because, you know, persistence is key. It is. But if you're like me and you've got a little mild to moderate ADHD, or maybe you're just not, hardcore losing 100 pounds in a year, you may struggle with persistence. So use those daily tracking sheets. They're free. Not even an email address to put in there. You can just click on the download button and print them off. And they work wonderful to just go through the motions. And when you're going through the motions, that helps with the persistence. So I hope this helped today. There's points in time where you've got to be flexible, and there's points in time where you're going to struggle with persistence, unless you happen to be one of those type A personalities and anything you set your mind to is done no matter what. I'm not that way. I set my mind to lots of things and don't finish them. But that's it for today, guys. Remember, if you got value from this, please buy me a coffee. I have to give a shout out, Annabelle in Australia. I did this in a short, but I'll do this in a video too, because this is what I intend on doing. So if you want to hear your name and your location, if your location's provided, shout it out on one of these videos, buy me a coffee. So Annabelle from Australia, thank you, thank you, thank you. I really appreciate you helping me keep this free by buying me a few coffees. And what are we forgetting? Oh yeah, subscribe. You got to subscribe to know what this old fart's talking about. Give me the old thumbs up. That lets YouTube know, hey, this guy might have something, that some other people might find interesting. So, drop a comment. I've been responding back and forth with comments the last few days, and it's wonderful. I like to hear from you folks. So drop a comment down below. Hit any one of the links down below for the website, for the Buy Me a Coffee, for nutritionfacts.org. I believe Derby is now included in the links down there. So that's it for today, guys. I don't know how many times I've said that, but that's all right. So remember to come along for this journey, because it has already been one hell of a journey, and we got a long way to go. Hasta luego.